Howdy, and welcome to the first episode of the Greatest Movies Never Made. I'm your host, Ryan Presky, and today I am joined by my co host, Adam Spring.
Hello.
To give a brief summary, this is a podcast dedicated to the rise and fall of some of the greatest movies we never got to see. Every week, we'll discuss with detail the cast, the crew, the director that were involved, talk about why the film ultimately got canceled, we'll give an analysis of the script if any similar projects that we got now are better or worse than what we could have had. So that's a quick, just brief introduction. Welcome everybody. Welcome Adam. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, good, good, good.
Excited to talk about some Wonder Woman today.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about 2006's Wonder Woman that was written by Joss Whedon. No one was officially cast, but there was rumors that he suggested Kobe Smulders of How I Met Your Mother fame at the time.
Oh, right, Robin.
Robin from How I Met Your Mother. She's since gone on to star in all three of the Avengers films, and what other one? Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
She was in Captain America.
Um, and obviously Joss Whedon directed the first two, so kept her in mind. Obviously, he didn't give her the biggest role, but still a pretty important role in that universe, I guess.
I mean, she was kind of I guess her character was important, but she wasn't a major role in the
She
movies.
does her job well. She
Yeah,
does it
no,
well.
for sure.
She had a big role in Avengers, the first one, then she kind of faded away. Um, so yeah, we're gonna be talking about that script that he wrote. It's interesting. Um, it's
Whatever that
strange to me
means.
that it took this long for Wonder Woman to get made. Obviously, the 2017 version we had. Um, let's talk about it a little bit. I loved it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I don't know anything about much. Honestly, when it comes to DC Comics, I'm not that educated, so I was really interested to see that she's basically just like a god. She was created by was it her Zeus? Yeah. And just I don't know. I thought that she was from another planet or something like Superman. I didn't realize all the I don't know, the cool mythology behind it.
Yeah, well, I think with the comics, as most characters, the heritage is always a little different. This backstory is always a little different. So I don't think she's always molded by Zeus, but I think she's always been a godlike character in that sense. I mean, she's an Amazon, an Amazonian, and they're not gods, but they're kind of the descendants of gods or something. They're the fighters of gods.
Well, yeah, I mean, if let's in this scenario, Zeus, well, it was a god, so I mean, and they're fighting for Zeus, right, against Ares, who's the god of war.
Yeah, in this scenario, in the film version, she is a god, I think.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I really liked that, and seeing her kind of training at the beginning, that was awesome.
Yeah, great
I really
movie.
like Gal
I
Gadot.
think Gal Gadot was awesome. Gal Gadot, not sure. Tomato, tomato. There was issues with it. I think the end of the film kind of lost me. The CGI battle,
Between her and Ares.
yeah, kind of generic, kind of out of nowhere. Not really necessary.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to follow just about every other movie script and like the battles that they had. I mean, it was like she seems like she's gonna lose for a minute, she's being overpowered, and then she has some sort of inspiration to bring her back and win the battle. And but I mean, I don't know. I really liked the guy that played Ares, and everything leading up to it was
What's his
great.
name
So
again from Harry Potter?
his real name,
Yeah, the actor's name.
the actor David Thewlis.
Yeah, he's great. Uh, it's just the CGI. I thought. I mean, I don't love when a villain is over CGI'd, and that's kind of been the problem with most of the DCU films. And this was the biggest problem. I thought it was great up until then. The war sequence was amazing when she was
Yeah,
on
I
the
loved
front
that.
line. Um, spoiler: the scene where Chris Pine's character Steve Trevor, yeah, when Steve Trevor dies. I mean, it was kind of emotional.
Yeah, I didn't. I honestly did not expect that at all. That's something that was not. I mean, usually in the movies, the two like, there's usually the love will find its way to the end exactly. The both of them will end up surviving and living happily ever after. So Although it was sad and surprising, I was actually glad that they did it that
Yeah,
way.
part of me thought it obviously could happen because it was set in what was it, the 15s, the 20s.
During World War
Yeah,
One.
set during World War One. So obviously she's around still in presumably 2018 when Justice League's taking place. Um, so yeah, he wasn't around then. It could have been a situation where it's like Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter, where she did survive, but she's just an old lady now.
Hmm.
But that wasn't the case. But they are bringing him back, Chris Pine, for the sequel. I don't know how. I don't know how
So,
yet.
but it's not like a prequel though. It
No,
doesn't
it
take
takes
place.
place in. It's called Wonder Woman 1986 or
Oh, so
84.
I guess he didn't really die,
I think it's gonna be some kind of
or maybe he'll just be a
Bucky
memory or
Barnes
something,
situations, maybe like a
uh,
flashback, something like
win
that.
like a Winter Soldier kind of thing.
Yeah. Or,
That could
or
be
it could
it.
be like an ancestor of him that just looks very
Well, I was
similar.
just gonna say, I mean, maybe it could just be memories of him too.
It could be. But that chemistry they love so much that he's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
It would be weird to have memories of him because we kind of saw their whole relationship.
True, yeah.
But it's
But I
possible.
mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be her memories. But yeah, I don't know.
Patty Jenkins, the director, did a great job. Um,
What else has he done?
she done.
She?
So Patty Jenkins directed Monster, and then I don't think she directed a film for until Wonder Woman again, which is crazy because that was an Oscar level film. I mean, Charlize Theron won. Um, but yeah, she did great. She's coming back for the sequel. She's getting paid for it.
Nice.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was all good. I love the stuff on what is it? Themyscira. I think that's the name of the island that all the Amazons are on.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. I liked all that. I didn't really, like I said, I didn't know any of that, so
Hmm.
just know she was in Amazon, all that stuff. That was cool. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, and Chris Pine and his crew, they were pretty cool.
I didn't care that much about his friends, to be
I
honest.
didn't care too much about them, but they were still a nice aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, they were fine.
Yeah, they definitely added a bit to the story.
I mean, I liked how they were there to be macho at the beginning, thinking that Diana couldn't do anything, then she just steps up and proves them all wrong and presses
Hmm.
them. So yeah, that was Wonder Woman. That was our thoughts, our quick thoughts on it. We'll talk a little bit more after we go into the script about if we thought it was a better version, a better adaptation than what we could have got. But let's just jump right into it. So obviously, this was a script written by Joss Whedon. It was finished August 7th of 2006, and it was attached to Silver Pictures. Silver Pictures did films like Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, all four of them, The Matrix, Predator. So they were big
Some
action
pretty big
films.
ones.
Yeah, some big action films. So this could have fit in nicely. So the film opens with a brief voiceover explaining how Ares, the god of war, has imprisoned all the Amazonians and bound them in these mystical chains. And only after praying to Athena are all of them set free and sent to a mysterious island, Themyscira, where Ares can't find them, a hidden island on Earth. And then we cut to present day where Steve Trevor is flying a plane in the middle of terrible conditions with no luck, trying to communicate to his partner. And just as lightning strikes his propeller down, he begins to plummet to the Earth, all of a sudden passing through a little bit of a portal, a little force field kind of thing, into Themyscira, where it's a lush green land. As he lands, he breaks his wrist and gets pinned down by a series of boxes that are going to be supplies for refugees that are suffering from a war effort. So just as he thinks all hope is lost, a thump is heard on top of the plane, and before he gets a chance to react, the door gets ripped open, and there stands Diana. She hesitates at first, not knowing who this is, what this technology is.
First time seeing a man.
Yeah, but after a brief discussion with him, she gets closer to him, frees him from the boxes, just as the plane begins to crash further, going down a hill. She grabs him and jumps out of the plane, throwing him aside. She begins to walk up to him as he's still hurt, when all of a sudden a group of Amazonians corner him with spears and arrows pointing at him, and we meet Hephaestia. Hephaestia? Hephaestia. This is going to be embarrassing.
I'm not sure. I don't
She
know.
was in the other version of the film. She was basically the head guard. She's the head guard of the Amazonians. So she
She's a
bounds his
strong
wrist.
character, I guess. When you say the other one, like the 2017 version she was in,
Yes, I think she's like the Robin Wright character. We're
Antiope.
well, I guess they just yeah, different name, but same type character. So she bounds his wrist and stands over him, and she wants to kill him, but Diana intervenes and begs for her not to. Instead, they decide to bring her to the High Court where she'll meet the Queen, Diana's mother. As they walk, you see the full scope of Themyscira, a lush green land, ancient Greek looking, with hundreds of women training and living everyday normal lives. At the top of the hill sits the Queen's Court, and en route we meet Athera, who's the best friend of Diana, and she joins them onto the route, the Queen's Court. So right now, pretty similar. I mean, it's just going a lot faster than the
Hmm.
version.
Yeah, I think in the new one, before Steve showed up, she had done like a whole bunch of
We have like
changes
the
and
whole
stuff.
origin of her kind of
Yeah.
thing. In the Queen's chamber, we meet Hippolyte.
Hippolyta? Is it Hippolyte or
It's
Hippolyta?
Hippolyte, I believe, or Hippolyte. What did you say?
Hippolyta is what they called her in the new one.
The Queen, Hippolyta.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe it is Hippolyta. Sorry, not too familiar with these ancient Greek names. So yeah, we meet her. Steve stands before her as a council of women gather around to see her. They're all hesitant to believe the story. So Hippolyta pulls out the lasso of truth, and that's the first time we see that on film. We would have seen that on film, and begins to question him again. After intense questioning, they decide that the first and most sacred law of their people is that no man should set foot on their land. So, no matter what his intentions are, good or bad, he has to be killed. This obviously causes uproaring with Diana. She's not into that. Already into this dude.
Already loves him. Yeah, that is kind of weird. Like she's lived there her whole life, and now she's deciding after meeting him, oh, screw the rules.
Well, I mean, this is something new to her. She's interested in it, and also she believes his intentions are pure. That he wants to get these supplies to the refugees. Because when he's lassoed, he tells them that's what his intentions are. He doesn't want anything else. He just wants to help these people less fortunate.
Hmm.
So after silencing her daughter in court, Hippolyte sends Steve to close quarter for the night to discuss further with her um, what the best action is to take. The two disagree, both having different experiences with men. Obviously, Wonder Woman never met a man, has no preconceptions of what a man is,
Hmm.
what how they should act.
Hmm.
Hippolyta has. She's dealt with Ares in the past before.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we cut to Steve's closed quarter, and it looks like a very well furnished ancient Greek palace kind of thing. Even the prisoners are taken care of, obviously, in Themyscira.
Sounds like Norway.
Sounds like Norway. High praise for Norway. So Diana enters and starts questioning about the outside world, showing a clear fascination and desire to experience it. Steve tells her that she could not survive the outside world because she's the daughter of a queen and she's too pampered and all this.
He obviously doesn't understand what the Amazonians
He
are.
doesn't understand the scope of her
He
powers
doesn't
at
know where
all.
he is.
Yeah. So this causes Diana to storm out of the room. As the camel follows her, we see Hippolyta watching over. And then we get a little bit of a montage of Diana sitting by the moonlight, destined for more, wanting more than what she has right now. And she's met up with her best friend, Athera, and they just sit outside the temple and talk before Diana goes to pray at the heels of Athena, which is,
Goddess of
yeah,
wisdom.
the goddess of wisdom. So big figure. A lot of statues in this. A lot of god worship. And as she's at the statue, a falcon lands at her feet. Pretty normal. Just a falcon landing at her feet, right? Okay.
But she can like talk to animals, right?
So the next day, Steve is brought to Hippolyta, and the sentence remains. He still has to be killed. So he's sitting at the high court, ready to be killed, when all of a sudden the air fills with screeches as the room fills with falcons. Hundreds of falcons. Just then, a kind of red carpet is formed of snakes, leading right to Steve, before two panthers walk out of the carpet created, and right behind them is a gowned Diana. So yes, Diana can talk to animals in this version, which is something I didn't know. I never knew in the comics that she had the ability to talk to animals.
It seems like, well, I mean, in this movie, I guess she's already had all her training, and she's already, essentially, she's already Wonder Woman, right?
I mean, yeah,
Is that what we're
we don't
assuming?
see her going through any training,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
presumably, yeah, she doesn't have all the wisdom, I guess, but I guess she didn't have all the wisdom in the version we got.
Because this is interesting. In the new version, you don't see her talking to animals at all or anything like that, I don't think. And
That's my problem with a lot of these heroes when they get too many abilities. It's like, why does she need to talk to animals too? That should be one person's singular ability.
mhm.
She could do everything? That's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like what Superman's like too.
Yeah, so after causing this ruckus, she comes in and she demands trial by combat. She wants to fight for Steve, and the only way to do that is to fight the best fighter in all of Themyscira, and that just so happens to be her mother, the queen. The queen has no choice but to accept. There's no denying it. So they begin to fight. They have an intense brawl. Hippolyta gets the upper hand at one point, and she knows that she could beat her, but she doesn't want to beat her, and she could see in Diana's eyes that she's not gonna back down. She's gonna fight till she dies. So she decides to ease out on her and give her the win essentially. So neither are physically like seriously harmed, but Diana gets the right to take Steve and leave. So that's pretty much goodbye for Themyscira. We uh, we leave. We see Diana and Steve inside the cockpit of the plane. Somehow it's completely fine again. All the repairs were interior, interior, nothing exterior. You know,
Internal.
yeah, internal. So yeah, they're flying back. They leave Themyscira. They leave their little bubble, and somehow the communications work now, so they're able to get in touch with Steve's army type pals. And this is when we meet Ben, who warns them of possible trouble at the runway right when they get there.
Who's Ben?
Ben is just one of Steve's allies in this support effort. So the plane lands and we are introduced to Steve's gang, Ben, Sully, and Griffin. Steve and his men leave the plane and we're met by Goshnak, who's a ruthless Russian warlord. He's waiting for them. He ambushes the crew with his heavily armed men and intends on taking the whole plane and all the contents within. So, bye-bye refugees, no supplies. Taking them all for himself. Just then, Diana exits the plane and begins to talk with Goshnak. I'm sorry, I might even be pronouncing that one wrong. As she approaches, he shoots her right in the chest and she falls to her knees as blood starts to drip down her hands. So yeah, then we cut to Gateway City, which is DC's equivalent of San Francisco, tech-savvy city. And we meet Jeff and Ginny. Jeff is an older homeless man and Ginny is a reporter. A classic duo. They're underneath the city. They're in the subway lines. And they're looking at this weird mural on the wall that shows some kind of warrior decapitating a dragon.
That's some classic subway art.
Yeah, it's classic subway art, classic Greek mythology in a San Francisco town, city. And then all of a sudden, out of the ground, the ground starts bubbling, and we see the ground break open, and out of the ground comes Strife, who is a large, caped, black-skulled monster of a human. He's not human, but he has humanoid
Features.
features. Yeah, a god. He's a god. He is the
What's his name again?
Strife. He is the nephew of Ares. So very similar to what we got in Wonder Woman, just a different character. He decapitates the homeless man. Quick.
Well, that's a quick goodbye to that. That's Jeff, though? That was Jeff?
That was Jeff.
Why did we even learn his name?
Well, I just said his name. I didn't have to. I could have said a homeless man and a reporter.
Well, I'm just even in the movie, I'm wondering why in the script they included that. They're just gonna decapitate
Well, they
him.
named the character. They may have not even said his name in the movie. And yeah, the reporter's dead too, so we didn't need to give her a name either if you're on about
Oh,
that.
she died too.
Yeah,
Okay.
he kills her too.
So this is really just a scene to show that
Yeah.
Strife
Basically,
is...
this was a scene to show here's the bad
Yeah.
Strife. He's in Gateway City, and he doesn't mess around. But if you had to visualize him, I'd say very similar to the CGI type creature you got, or similar to Steppenwolf from Justice League, that villain. That's what I would say more he
Oh,
looks
yeah,
like.
okay.
He looks like
Right,
that.
right. Okay,
Okay.
got it.
So back at the medical tent, Diana wakes up. It's been about 6 hours, and her wound is almost completely healed. She gets out of the tent, and the gang tells her that Roshnak took off. Yeah, sorry.
Goshnak?
Goshnak took off and took all the supplies up the mountain, while one of the guards is staying back to guard the plane. Diana goes right up to that guard, knocks him out, takes his gun, examines it, is confused by what it is, tries to learn a little bit from it. And then she goes right up into the mountain, leaves the Steve and the rest of the guys behind, and she finds the guys. She quietly goes up to a few of them, disarms them, knocks them unconscious before she gets caught. And when she gets caught, she starts getting attacked from all different angles with machine guns, with trucks. She dismantles all of that, grabs Goshnak, headbutts him one time in front of all his men, unconscious. The rest of the men are terrified, drop all their weapons, and run away. So then we get Diana. She takes all the supplies. She goes to the refugees, and there she's wondering what to do now. She's wondering where can she go, what can she do to help. And Steve convinces her, oh, come back to Gateway City. You could help there. And she doesn't know any better. She doesn't know where wars are going on, where her abilities would best be suited. So she says, okay, I'll come back. And then we go to Gateway City where we meet Callus, the CEO of Spearhead, which is a large business that works in military technology, a number of things, but that's their primary technology that we see. She opens a secret door, which is to a hidden war room that is able to examine every person, everything on the whole world, on the whole earth. A very comic book cliche kind of thing.
Like a just all-seeing eye kind of thing.
Yeah, an all-seeing eye. Strange. Well, not strange, but
The Eye of Sauron.
yeah, just very, very overplayed. An employee hands her an important document, and she leaves and goes to enter a prayer chamber. And she starts praying and praying, and then the camera zooms out to see that she's praying at the feet of Ares, the god of war. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, materializes Strife. So he's able to transport himself essentially wherever he wants. And it turns out that those two are working together. She informs him.
Ares and Strife, you mean?
Yeah, Callus and Strife.
Oh, Callus and
Yeah.
Strife. Wait, which one's Callus again?
Female CEO of Spearhead.
Okay, right.
So she shows him the document that one of the employees handed her. And on it is revealed that there's a possible Amazonian alive wandering the earth. The two look over as they see Kamara. I don't want to say Kamara like Alvin Kamara because I'm trying to get it right.
Is it spelled the same?
Khimaora.
Kimura?
Kimura. That sounds right. So they're staring over Kimura. That's what they call it, which is a massive machine with a lion-esque head insect-like arms and is able to spew fire. The way I could best describe it is similar to the large creatures from Avengers.
Like the first Avengers, the ones or the ones that come from the
Yeah,
sky.
the Jatari, I think
Okay,
they're
that's the
called,
second Avengers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
which Joss Whedon directed. So obviously he might have taken some inspiration from this creature. Yeah, so they're kind of talking over that, looking over it, and Diana just enters Gateway, and this is the first time we ever see the whole city. We see the streets, very large towers, all this. She discovers that she's not really needed here, and she's kind of pissed off at Steve.
She thought that it was in disarray or
Yeah,
something.
and it's not. However, she's walking down the streets and she sees a young boy getting harassed in the alley, and she goes up to the guy and stops him. She disarms him. She uses her lasso of truth to find out all the information she can. She finds out who he works for, and what her boss has planned. And she discovers that his boss is Callus, and her plan is to activate Kimura and use it to destroy all the cities in Gateway underground and call it a seismic shift so no one knows it's her at large.
Why does she? Do we know her motive at all?
We don't know her motive yet, but regardless, seems pretty stupid.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm already thinking the new one's probably better.
Yeah,
But anyways.
spoiler it is. So at this time, Chimera is activated, and a city begins to go down. So Diana runs into the building. She starts taking people out one by one, floor by floor. And as people runs down, she runs up, saving people along the way. With just a few people left in the building, Strife shows up. All but one escape off the roof. The two fight through the building before Strife uses his teleportation abilities to transport them to a snowy mountain where they continue their fight. Strife has the upper hand. Wonder Woman's pinned down. Just as you think Strife's about to kill her, he transports her back into the building right as it falls down and leaves her. So the building collapses on Wonder Woman.
And sorry, so Strife is the one that's sort of like Steppenwolf, right?
In appearance, yes.
In appearance,
And I
yeah.
guess, yeah, he's the
And sorry,
nephew
so
of Ares, so same thing.
and who's what's the person's name again? Who's in charge of the big company that you were talking about? I can't remember its name. The
Callus.
military company, Callus, right?
What about her?
I just couldn't remember her name. I
Oh,
just wanted.
yeah, that's her name.
Okay.
I think that might be even her last name. But
Yeah,
that
no, I
just...
figured that.
Yeah, so after that, we see the interior of Steve's house. He's treating to Diana's wounds. This is where things get a little strange, because she's fully naked, Diana, lying on her back, and you see ass shots, all this. So kind of sexualizing your main hero a little bit.
Hmm.
At least this is where it begins. So he's tending to the wounds, all that, and then she gets up and she wants to stop Strife any way she can, but she doesn't know how to find him. So she decides the best way she could do that is to rid the whole city of crime. Once all of crime's gone, it will get back to Strife, and he'll have no choice but to fight her. So we get a little montage of her stopping street thugs, gun runners, sex traffickers, all this, assisting firefighters. This eventually leads to her getting some notoriety in Gateway, and reporters begin to coin her as Wonder Woman. So this is when we first get the name Wonder Woman. So Diana and her gang have tracked down one of the bigger criminals in the city. Clean is his name. I'll call him Mr. Clean from now.
Lots of interesting names.
They go to the bar, Clean sitting at a booth alone, and they go up. Diana goes up and approaches him alone. She begins to talk to him, question him, all this, wants to know what his intentions are in the city, who he works for. She doesn't use the lasso of truth, she just talks to him. And then after a heated discussion where he kind of threatens her, he pulls a gun on her, she walks away. She lets him go. She says, you know what? He's not on my radar. I see good in him. So she leaves, and In another strange moment, she goes to the dance floor and she begins to dance in a way that is described as it's described in the script as sensual, ethereal, and wicked sexy. So this is your main character dancing in a nightclub. Wonder Woman dancing in a nightclub, wicked sexy. Yeah. She is dancing so fast that time begins to slow down around her. So people are moving slowly, all this. You could see like a fly going around in the background. And as one of the bouncers in a back room is just about to close the velvet red, whatever it's called, entrance to get into the VIP room, she sneaks in because she's so fast.
The ropes.
Yeah, she sneaks in the
ropes.
ropes.
Yeah.
She has the speed of the Flash. She walks up the
can just do
ropes.
everything.
Yeah, she has every power. So she walks up the ropes, and in the private room, we meet Bacchus. He reveals that he's actually Dionysus, the god of wine.
Okay.
So kind of a little goof, a little joke, god of wine at the bar.
Bit of comic relief.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what this character's going to be like.
Mm-hmm. He explains that most of the gods are dead. Only those who are still worshipped by the people are still alive. That's why he's still around. Ares is still around. And Aphrodite. So
that's the goddess of love or something?
The goddess of love, the goddess of wine, and the goddess of war.
Okay.
Those are the three gods that he says are still around.
Okay.
So a little humor.
Yeah.
So Bacchus brought Diana to her because he sees that Ares is too much of a threat now, and he tells them of the plan and the two part ways. So then we see Steve and Diana together. They use the lasso of truth to get some access codes from one of the security guards, and they immobilize Callus's assistant. They're now in Spearhead.
Sorry, so what is Spearhead's connection? Like, how did we originally meet Callus again? What is that? Is Steve somehow connected to Spearhead? I forget.
Steve has no connection to Spearhead. Steve just lives in Gateway City, and Spearhead is one of the largest businesses in Gateway City.
All right.
It just so happens that the CEO is evil.
Yeah.
So they barge into her office. She's sitting there. They immediately lasso her and start questioning her. They discover she intends on destroying Gateway, but before they find out how, 6 armored men show up and all point their guns and start shooting at them. The 2 run away and they leave Callus behind. So they run through the war room, through the prayer room, into the silo where Kimura was located, but it's now empty. Diana destroys the statue of Ares. She uses the rubble to shut the door behind them to slow everyone down. And the 2 see no other option but to jump down the massive silo. And as they jump down to the last second, she uses the lasso, hooks onto a little piece of wood, and they hit the ground on the bottom of the subway tracks where we saw Jeff and Ginny die earlier.
To Strife.
Yeah. So they're standing at the mural. Wonder Woman's looking over it, and she recognizes it. She knows this. Diana and Steve begin to fight about the best action to take when all of a sudden...
Who are they? Who fight against?
They're fighting each other. They're not physically. They're arguing.
Oh, okay.
So they're arguing over what they should do now, how to get out, what's the best action to take, and then all of a sudden, Strife transports himself there, and they begin fighting. Strife uses his sword to cut Diana's lasso, and the glow is removed. Boom. Power's gone. Strife then teleports behind Steve and bargains for his life. He gets him the knife right up to him, bargains for his life, and tells Diana he's going to kill him unless she submits to his will. Steve begs her, don't do it. But she does. She submits to his will, and he presents her with the magical chains that were used to bound all the Amazonians hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And she ties herself up. And then he throws Ben down, and boom, transports her out of there.
There's who down?
Sorry, not Ben.
Steve?
Steve, yeah. Throw Steve down, and they transport out of there, and they transport to the jungles of somewhere in South Africa, or South America, sorry. Strife leaves her bound in the jungles by herself, powerless. And that's it. That's a wraps on Wonder Woman. That's the movie.
Really? That's how it ends?
No, that's not how it ends.
That would be fucked.
Cut back to Steve's workshop where him and the gang are back together. Griffin, one of the other guys, is tending to Steve's wounds, and they're trying to just make a plan. What's the best action to take without Diana here? They seem basically hopeless, but their idea is to essentially just show the world, show Gateway City that Strife exists. That's it.
Expose the truth.
Yeah. So then in the jungle, Diana is struggling just to survive when she sees smoke from a distance, and she follows it all the way to a small village where she meets an elderly village lady. Back at Spearhead, Callus activates Chimera, and Chimera, is that what we decided?
Kimura?
Kimura. And we get our first look at the live creature. Like I said, kind of similar to the creatures in Avengers.
It's a robot though, right?
Yeah, it's a robotic creature.
Mm-hmm.
Under the city, the plan is for Chimera to bring down every building. It's revealed that Clean is working with Callus and has told her where Steve and his crew are. He followed them home, and then he went right there and told them. Back in the village, Diana and the villagers are attacked by more drug traffickers who threaten to rape Diana. So again,
More sexualization.
and like pretty brutal sexualization.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. What are you thinking, Joss?
Before tossing her and the others in a small box, Dan discovers that the elderly lady that was tending to her, that brought her into the village, is actually her mother speaking through this woman. So that's another ability they have.
All right. That's okay. I don't know. I don't know how I
Giving
feel
her
about
the
that.
courage, giving her the strength to fight through this
Yeah,
when
I
she
don't
needs
know
it.
how I feel about that.
Well, it's get used
Seems
to
a
it.
little too cliche. Anyhow.
So yeah, she summons enough strength to fight back, even while she's still chained. She knocks out all but one of the men, and she raises her arm, strains and pulls, and boom, snaps the chains. She has all her powers back.
These are the chains that held all the Amazonians previously, right?
Yeah, but they can't hold her.
Well, I know that she's
No
not.
chains can hold
she's
her.
different, obviously.
Yeah, she's the best.
Of course.
So she breaks it. She gets out. The elderly lady tells Diana that she had a gift for her. All the villagers begin to look for it. They're like, "Where is it? Where is it? Where's this gift? You said you have a gift. Where is it? Where's the gift?" And then the camera pans up and we reveal the invisible jet. So I'm not sure if you're too familiar with this, but the invisible jet is something that Wonder Woman used to have early in the comics. They phased it out because it was too silly and ridiculous,
Yeah.
and that's why now she could
She fly.
fly. But Joss Whedon
He brought it back.
threw it in. He did bring it back because I think I'm almost 100% it was being phased out of the comics by this point in
Yeah, well,
2006.
it obviously wasn't in the 2017 version.
No, but I love it. I'm into it.
So she says, "Look in the sky. I have an invisible plane."
No,
for
she's
you
like,
guys."
look here. It's here. And everyone's like, where is it? And it's right in front of them.
Oh, how convenient.
Yep.
It's here. It's just invisible.
Well, it was hidden amongst the trees a little bit. Back at Steve's, now that Strife and Callus know where they are, Strife teleports and appears right there. Strife thinks he has the upper hand. However, the gang turns on a bunch of lights to reveal cameras set up everywhere in this internet age of 2006. Live streaming, baby. So Callus's image is out there. Now anyone can see it. Everyone knows he's there. He doesn't care, though. He doesn't care at all.
It
However,
makes no difference to him.
Callus, she's pissed.
Why does she care?
Well, because she's working with him, and she doesn't want
yeah, I guess
people to know that
Yeah, but I mean,
her intentions.
I don't know. I guess that makes sense.
He's the god. He's the nephew of the god of war. He wants destruction on the world. He doesn't care who knows it. But she does. Because she wants to sell this military technology secretly.
Mm-hmm. A god's not going to go around telling people who he's working with, though.
No, but if it's live streams, what can he do about it? Even a
guess
god can get live streams. So yeah, after angering Strife, he just summons the Kimura, which shoots under the ground, and the gang just runs away. They jump in their car and they race away from the beast. Strife teleports on top of the van and stabs Steve before ripping the top of the van off. Before Kimura jumps under the ground, lands on top of the car, and pins them down. Just as they're pinned down, they think all hope's gone. All of a sudden, the huge beast is swept off the car by something, an invisible force. What is it? The invisible jet. Came in, swooped it off its ground, pushed it off. She picks up the beast.
Well, I
She
thought
flies
she
it.
just gave the jet to those people.
No, the elderly lady gave the jet to her.
Oh, okay.
So she had it. I don't know if the elderly lady was personified as her mother or was her mother with the jet. Because it is weird now that I think about it, how they have the jet.
Yeah, why do they have it?
They had it, and now she has it.
Okay.
So she picks up the beast, flies it through the air before releasing it and swooping back to use the wing to slice one of its head offs. It has two heads. So the head tumbling towards the earth, going to cause mass destruction. She swoops down, grabs the head before placing it on the ground, and the live chimera, one-headed chimera, is still flying through the earth, going through the atmosphere, going into orbit, basically.
I thought it was supposed to go underground. Why is it flying right now?
Because she picked it up with the invisible jet
Oh, so then what?
and flew it through space.
And then so when she was with the other head,
She picked it up. She swooped, let's say, straight into the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let go of it. It came down, and then she sliced off one of the heads.
And then, but you said that the head would have destroyed something if she didn't catch it.
The head fell first. Sorry. The head, for some reason, even though I think the heavier thing should have fallen first, the head begins to hit the ground first. She stops that.
With the plane again?
With the plane, yep.
Or
And then
jet?
she begins to clear out, yelling for everyone to clear out the city while the still live Chimera
Kimura?
is tumbling towards the earth. Diana plunges her swords. So Diana exits the jet. She tells Steve to clear the city, get everyone out of the way. And then she jumps up, scaling building with a sword, slicing it into the Chimera's head. And then she begins to ride the beast. And Clean shows up to help Steve evacuate the city, revealing that no, double agent. Here's what happened.
Okay.
So, Callus and Clean were in the meeting. Callus told them, "Oh, here's where you find Steve." But he actually set them up. He knew there was going to be cameras. He knew there was going to be lights, and he knew that Strife was going to show up. So he wanted to expose Callus, and he wanted to expose Strife. Because in his mind, he's like, you know what? I'm going to need a city if I'm going to be the head fucking drug kingpin here.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want everyone to die.
Yeah.
So he begins to help Steve, and they clear the city. Strife appears on top of the beast. So Diana and Strife begin to fight on top of this large robotic creature. Diana knocks Strife off the beast and then lassos his foot and begins to drag him
The
along.
lasso was destroyed.
That's a good point. You know what it might be? I mean, it's just a lasso. She could get another lasso. It might not be able to make them tell the truth. Yeah.
Okay.
That's very good. That's very good. I did not pick up on that. So yeah, she begins to drag him through the debris and all these buildings that the beast is going through before using his spear to dig into the Chimera's neck, finishing the beast off once and for all. So he's gone. Now it's just Strife and Diana.
This time they're not worried about it falling to the ground and destroying everything, though.
No, it's ground based right now.
Okay.
They've been riding it through on the streets.
Okay, got it.
Yep. So upset, Strife ambushes Diana, regaining his spear and lunging it at her heart. She stops it and strains to keep it from piercing her. Steve grabs Clean's gun and shoots at Strife. So furious, Strife ambushes Diana, regaining his spear and lunging it towards his heart. She grabs it, stops him, and she's straining to stop him, and he's overpowering her. When all of a sudden Steve comes in and starts shooting at Strife, which just angers him further. He disappears while Diana's still holding onto the spear. No one knows where he is. No one knows where he is. So Diana takes the spear and throws it as hard as she can right at Steve. And then all of a sudden, bloop, he teleports right in front of Steve and it hits him right in the heart, piercing his heart. He collapses to the ground, dead.
Genius.
Taking a big risk, but I like it. I like it, Wonder Woman.
It would have been better if he just didn't show up.
Would have been a better ending, yeah. Lightning strikes the spear and creates a smoke screen, and out of the smoke appears an apparition of Ares himself. He basically tells Diana how disappointed he is in her, how this isn't the end, how he's going to see her again, setting up sequel, which we never got, but could have been cool. Diana and Steve kiss. Nice romance. It's cool. However, let's talk about the third, maybe fourth weird sexual thing in this. Diana then hints at a possible lesbian relationship she had back in the past.
How so?
Well, she's like, he says something like, "Oh, you're such a good kisser. I'm surprised you've never kissed before." And she's like, "I never said that." Which it's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
No,
It's
she's
just
it seems like
it seems
character-
over sexualizing your character.
her character is really trying to get the men interested.
Yeah. So the two go and they visit Athena's statue in Greece, and just as they're praying to it, Diana begins to stand at the edge of a cliff. Steve, terrified, says, "What are you doing? Don't do that. Stop." She says, "Watch me." And tips over. End credits. So there we go. We're going to see her fly, basically.
So that Joss Whedon had what was her name again? The one that was gonna play Wonder Woman.
Kobe Smulders.
And that's the only one that he had thought of, right?
That's the only one he had thought of, but funny you say that because I got some pretty good ideas myself. And I don't know about you. You might have some good ones too.
Well, let's hear yours.
Let's see. You want to get to that? So yeah, that was the script. Let's talk first a little bit about what do you think?
I don't think it would be as good, nearly as good as the one that we have today.
I agree.
2017 version. I mean, it just seemed like everything, like for example, this all-seeing eye that can just see everything, and I don't know, there seemed like a lot of things that were kind of just too Hollywood and too clearly just like right out of a comic book almost. I don't know. It doesn't seem fitting for movies. Some things don't seem like they would be fitting in this movie.
I 100% agree for now. I think if it came out in 2006, it would have been huge, obviously, but I don't think it would have stood the test of time.
Also, sexualization of Diana is kind of weird. I mean,
It
once
is.
again, maybe in 2006 when we weren't as politically correct in terms of just in general.
Yeah.
But it just seems weird, like trying to make her seem so sexy and everything.
Well, here's the thing about the 2017 version.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is sexy. Gal Gadot is
Yeah,
is
but
very
they
sexy.
don't need to make any hints towards that. like-
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
There's no sexualization of her. She's, if anything, Steve Trevor, Chris Pine's character, is a little bit more sexualized.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the one that he's like naked at times,
Yeah.
and he's saying like, "Oh, I'm above average for my gender," and stuff like that. Yeah, that's true. I think it's better that way, if anything. Like, I feel like I wouldn't like the Wonder Woman you're talking about as much.
Well, here's something I found very interesting, and just why I think it would have been huge if this came out in 2006. So since 1920, there have been about 130 superhero and comic book films with solo protagonists. Only eight have had female leads. Only eight out of 130.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
tiny.
right now with 2017, obviously with when Wonder Woman came out, they didn't fast track a bunch of movies, but in the works we have a Wonder Woman sequel, we have a Birds of Prey movie and a Batgirl movie, we have Captain Marvel, um, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Captain Marvel's a woman?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
So that's coming out. So we have all these other movies that maybe not necessarily fast tracked, but they're coming out now. So I think if this came out in 2006, 10 years ago, we could have had a lot more options. So I mean, we've had Batman, Superman, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Spider-Man, Blade, and even more characters of all trilogies. Only eight females. Spider-Man has been rebooted 3 times in different decades. Um, yeah, it's even crazier that only one, I think two actually, female superhero movies have been made since the onset of the MCU. So since
Wonder Woman.
2008, yeah.
And what's the other one?
Um, maybe it's just Wonder Woman then.
I haven't watched it. Is Ant-Man and the Fly out or
Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I mean, it's still she's not
no lead?
the
Yeah.
lead, the central lead. She's splitting it. It was good, I will say though.
Well, I guess that's also Marvel too. That's
Yeah.
not even the DC universe.
The films I have for female-led superhero movies are 1984's Supergirl, which is regarded as, I think, a terrible movie,
Yeah.
like a very terrible movie.
So
1995's.
Supergirl, just a quick
Yeah, yeah.
thing on the side. Is she? So she's not like Wonder Woman though. She's like Superman.
She's Superman's cousin.
Okay.
Yeah. 1995's Tank Girl, 1996's Barbed Wire, 2004's Catwoman, and 2005's Elektra.
I remember liking both those movies, but looking
Catwoman
back, they're
and
probably
Elektra?
pretty terrible.
All of those movies are widely considered panned. They're they're hated by comic book fans, most of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw them when I was like really young. That was Halle Berry that did Catwoman,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, there's been female superheroes in movies. Like obviously we have Black Widow.
That's Scarlett
Yeah.
Johansson, right? She's getting her own movie, isn't she?
I don't think they've announced it yet.
Oh, really?
Scarlet
I
Witch is
would have
getting her own
thought she
TV
would
series.
have. Sorry?
Scarlet Witch is getting her own TV series
Who's Scarlet Witch?
from Avengers.
Oh, the girl with the red hair, the Russian
Elizabeth
girl?
Olsen, yeah. So should we get into some characters and speculation of casting?
Do it.
So obviously, I mean, nothing was official, but Joss did say he was eyeing Kobe Smulders. So I'm just gonna leave that there. Kobe Smulders is this version's Wonder Woman, and I like it.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can actually see her being a good Wonder Woman. I was thinking, honestly, I think Scarlett Johansson would also be really good at that if she didn't have the blonde hair.
Well, that's it. That's an easy fix, the hair color. But
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I just feel like I can picture her so much, like her with the brown hair as in that Superwoman, or I mean, that Wonder Woman outfit.
I don't see it as much, but I mean, not bad. So do you have anyone? I mean, should I go through my list and see if you
go
have
through
anyone?
your list. I don't really. I I wasn't good for that. I wasn't that good at this.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll get there. So Hippolyta, Prince, the Queen of Themyscira, and Diana's daughter. I gave a few options for this one.
Mother, you mean?
Yeah, Mother. I gave a few options. Obviously, number one was Linda Carter, who was Wonder Woman in the TV series. I think she would have been perfect at the time. I think she would have been perfect in 2017. A few other options I had were Meg Ryan or Angelina Jolie, depending on the age. I think she could have done well.
I think Angelina Jolie would be good at that.
Yeah. Next, I had the Captain of the Guards, Hephaestus. Oh, sorry.
Hippolyta?
No, that was the Queen.
Oh, right. No, yeah. That's
Hephaestus.
yeah, Antiope. It's a different name in this
Yeah.
in the new one.
For the head guard, I had Linda Hamilton. Terminator, Sarah Connor.
Okay.
So I wanted to go with
She's
a
how?
little bit older,
Yeah, I
but
was gonna
still
say
like
she's a bit older
badass.
now, though. I guess yeah, that's true.
That's what I wanted to go for, like
She could still
similar
be a
to the
badass. Yeah,
2017 version.
yeah, yeah.
For Cersei, who was the right-hand woman of the queen, we didn't really talk about her too much. She was in the intro a bit. I wanted to cast Jane Fonda, who took a break from acting from 1990 for a little bit, but I think she started right around when this would have been casting, so that would have been cool. Athera, Diana's best friend, I wanted to do Evangelina Lilly,
Who's that?
who is right now she plays the Wasp. She was in Lost at the time.
She's the main person in Lost, the main woman.
Yeah.
What's her name again? Sarah
In Lost,
in Lost.
Kate.
Kate, right? Okay.
Um, no options yet for you? Nothing?
Well, I don't. I also don't even know that character, Cersei.
Maybe you have some for Steve Trevor. This is the one that got interesting too. Um, I had a few. I gave three for this one too. My one, my obvious one that I think probably would have been cast would have been Orlando Bloom, someone like that.
Yeah, I could definitely see him being. I wonder, does it have to be someone that's just considered extremely handsome, but at the same time, I feel like
Well, he could play it.
it fits the character.
Yeah, he could play like a little like dirty, like
Yeah.
soldiery kind of guy, but still
But no, I do
handsome.
think that would be good. I like Orlando Bloom too.
My other option was Shooting for the Stars would have been Will Smith. No, they could have got it, but I mean that would have been
That
great.
would have been amazing.
And my dark horse would have been Paul Walker. Rest in peace. That would have been awesome.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think he fits the role pretty much too. For Ben, Steve's friend, I had Sean William Scott. He was a little bit of more of a comic relief.
Yeah, funny
I
character.
think he was pretty big at the time. For Dr. Sully, I had Anna Faris.
Which one's Dr. Sully again?
That was just another one of the friends. These are all the friends.
Okay.
She was kind of like the tech friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Anna Faris just coming off of Scary Movie and all that.
Yeah, those were huge, I guess, back in 2006 or so.
And then for Griffin, I had another one of Steve's friends. I had Jamie Foxx. I don't know. I just thought that would have been a good crew. Sean William Scott, Anna Faris, and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. I love Jamie Foxx. He's amazing.
Yeah. For Strife, obviously the big bad. I wanted to think of someone I don't know. I love someone that's like usually plays good, but I could see playing bad too. So I thought Antonio Banderas.
Not sure who that is.
You know the Zorro and Puss in Boots?
Can't say. I can put a face. I mean, I know who Puss in Boots is, but I can't put a face on the actor.
All right, well that's who I would have cast. For Callus, I thought someone like Julianne Moore, clean, someone like Jeremy Piven, from Entourage.
Which one?
He's the manager.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like a little like sleazy guy that's playing
Yeah.
both sides. I thought that would be
Right,
perfect.
yeah, that would actually be really good.
And these are the two I got most proud about. For Bacchus, a quick cameo, I thought it would be perfect if it was Steve Martin, playing the God of Wine.
Yeah, I can 100% see that.
Yeah,
He
playing
would
like
just
that
be
little goof
just
character
all,
for a
like,
bit.
fucked up at the bar, like just yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Another person I just thought of now that would be great would be like Bill Murray, someone like that.
Yeah, one of those that crew.
Yeah, and for a quick cameo at the end for Ares, just because this guy is so devilish and he's so scary, I thought it would be great if it was Ray Liotta. I mean, I don't think he would have done it, but for the possibility of a sequel and being the main villain, that would have been great, I thought. The fuck was that? So yeah, those are all my casting choices. I mean, any that jumped out?
Yeah, I really like the Jamie Foxx one for sure.
Yeah, but that was
He
like
was-
such a
I know
shit
it's a
character.
minor role, but I love Jamie Foxx. I think having comic relief like that would be just so good. Like the whole dynamic.
Yeah, I
him
did
and the
cast those
friends.
three as kind of just all comic relief characters.
Yeah, like I feel like it's kind of needed, and I think they would be really good at it. Um, who's Ray Liotta?
From Goodfellas.
Oh,
You haven't
okay.
seen it yet?
Yeah, no, I didn't watch it. No, I still have to watch it, but no, I know who he is now.
What, like haha funny? Well, I'm a clown.
He's a great actor. He's amazing.
Yeah.
He
So
would be who again? He would be Ares?
I thought he would have been good as Ares, or the
He would,
Strife. He could have been, but I
that would
see him
be
more
like
as the big
a
bad.
funny. I feel like he would be a funny, also kind of like comic relief.
Nah, he's scary, bro. That's a scary man.
I guess so, yeah. But in that character, as that character, I feel like he would be funny. I don't know.
Yeah. So at the time, Joss was only really known for being a creator and showrunner of Buffy, Angel, and Firefly. In addition, he made the Firefly spin-off Serenity, but that was a financial failure. He's since gone on to write and direct the first two Avengers films, as I said. He helped co-direct Justice League and is set to take on the upcoming Batgirl in the DC studios. So he has a big history with comic book films.
Hmm.
Um, I think it was best for him that he started with Avengers, not Wonder Woman,
Why?
for his career. I mean, after
Oh.
going through the script, I think,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If he did this instead of Avengers, that probably
yeah, I don't think he
wouldn't
would
have
have
been
got
good.
Avengers if he did this. I mean, he could have. Who knows? Other writers like Todd Alcott, who wrote Ants and 13 Ghosts, and Leeta Kalogorgis, who wrote Alexander, Shutter Island, and the upcoming Alita Battle Angel. They all wrote drafts. It's not. I'm not sure if he worked on that draft or if he just wrote his own draft. And an earlier adaptation of Wonder Woman was discussed in 1996 with Ivan Reitman, who is at Ghostbusters fame, the director of Ghostbusters. So this was an unproduced script, which means it would have likely undergone some or a lot of changes.
Hmm. Hopefully the sexual things.
Yeah, I do think if it went through, most of that would have got removed. Maybe not some, because I don't think all of it was too overly sexualized. I don't want to say that, but
Well,
it
maybe
did
the
get a little
shots of her
strange.
lying naked on the bed,
Yeah, and,
on passed out.
and here's the thing. Um, so let's just get into it. The creator of Wonder Woman, his name is William Moulton Marston. Um, he was a psychologist, a professor, Scientologist, a scientist. He
Well,
wasn't a
good
Scientologist.
thing.
A scientist, an author, an inventor. He invented the polygraph lie detector test, as we found out that fun fact, um, which he said was which influenced the lasso of truth. You could see it; it makes sense. Um, he believed in free love. He had two wives. They all lived in one house together.
Polyamorous.
Yeah, he had I think two or three kids with each, and
When was this? How long ago?
this was I don't know exactly. I want to say it was around the 20s. Um, one of his wives, Olivia Brine, was an outspoken feminist with which translated to is the character of Wonder Woman. A lot of people think Wonder Woman is the ideal feminist. However, his personal life showed in the comics, and in his personal life, he was very into bondage. Right?
So what, did Wonder Woman get tied up a lot in the
In the
comics or
early
something?
comics of Wonder Woman, she was tied up a lot. She was bound with chains and tied up a lot, and in a way that was a little too sexualized for a lot of people, to the point where um, I don't remember exactly what it was, but a board had to step in and remove certain themes from comics. So um, he thought it was empowering women, but a lot of women saw it as objectifying them, them submitting
Sexualizing them.
to men's will. So over the years, the themes of bondage were kind of removed to reflect the times and all that. However, in this film, they were kind of they were there. I mean, she was chained up. They were all chained up at the beginning. So that's where it gets a little sexualized too. And then now we get into a little bit of the Joss Whedon controversy. So I don't know if you know about this, but obviously he did Buffy, Firefly, Serenity. These are huge shows with empowering women, you know, in
Mm-hmm.
a time where that was big. So he was kind of seen as this feminist icon, this male feminist icon for a long time. However, after his divorce, his ex-wife started to accuse him of serial cheating and using his marriage as a way of looking like a better guy, basically. Um, she was quoted as saying, "He's a hypocrite preaching feminist ideals." So it's tricky. It's what who do you believe? Do you believe this woman who you have no reason not to believe, or do you believe what you've seen through the years that he's empowered all these women? But just stories come out and all that, and I don't know. It's weird when you hear that he's preaching these ideals and doesn't believe them, and then you see a script like this where someone so powerful, such a big icon in the comic book world, does have these moments of sexualization,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know if it's because of the comic influence or his writing.
Yeah, well, I mean, now that you say that the original creator was very sexual with her, I mean, I feel like you could make the argument that he was just trying to stay true to the comic books, especially based on how you said the Invisible Jet had basically been non-existent in the Wonder Woman series for a while, or had been fading out, and he brought it back. I guess it kind of seems to me like he wanted to just stick to the bread and butter almost, even though the sexualization is a weird aspect of it.
Yeah, I don't want to accuse him or blame him of anything with the script, but I don't know, just that one line at the end where
The lesbian
yeah,
comment.
just because I don't know if that's present
Yeah,
in the
there's a lot
comics.
of unnecessary. It seems unnecessary,
Yeah.
like the way that it's presented.
So yeah, as I said, obviously it would have gone through some changes. He worked on the script for 2 years before dropping out due to what he called creative differences, which is a vague and broad term often given in the industry when either someone's taken off the project because they don't like their idea, or maybe it is just creative differences. But I think it probably was the first that they did not love the script and they didn't need to go along with the script. Um, so he was quoted on saying on his online blog, Whedon's. Okay. In 2006, he wrote, "You hopefully heard it here for the first time. I'm no longer slated to make Wonder Woman. What? But how? My chest. So tight. Okay, stay calm. I'll explain best I can. It's pretty complicated, so bear with me. I had a take on the film that, well, nobody liked. Hey, not that complicated. Let me stress first that everybody at the studio and Silver Pictures were cool and professional. We just saw different movies. And at a price range this kind, that this movie hangs in, that's never going to work. Sim- non-simpatico. It happens all the time. I don't think any of us expected it in this time, but it did. Everybody knows how long I was taking, what a struggle that script was, and though I felt good about it and what I was coming up with, it was never going to be a simple slam dunk. I like to think I rolled around the rim a little bit, but may have but other people may have different views. The worst thing that could happen in this scenario is that the studio just keeps hammering out changes and the writers fall into a horrible limbo of development. These guys had the clarity and grace to skip that part, so I'm a free man." So a little butthurt. Um, however, at the end, he's not wrong. I mean,
I mean, if no one liked the script, there's no way that it would work.
no, there's no way his script would work, but he wasn't wrong about them hammering out changes and writers fall into a horrible limbo. I mean, it
Mhm.
happened for 10 years.
Mhm.
I don't know exactly if they just were like, okay, we don't need a Wonder Woman, but I wouldn't be surprised if they kept working on different scripts for that long.
When was the first Iron Man released around that time?
Well, okay. So Warner Brothers released Batman Begins in 2005. So this would have been 2006. Superman Returns came out in 2006,
That
but
was a bad movie, right?
yeah, but they had no intention of making those a shared universe. So those are just two separate movies. However, it would have been Batman 2005, Superman 2006, Wonder Woman 2006. So had they all been financially successful and praised, they could have easily jumped into a Justice League shared
Mm-hmm.
universe
Yeah,
right
for
away.
sure.
Uh,
And then maybe we would have had that other Justice League movie
yeah.
from.
Well, they still had no plans even with the Justice League Mortal script
Mm-hmm.
that was announced. However, it could have fit in where all the casting that they already had, they could have just replaced with these three actors. I mean, it could have worked
Which three actors?
with they could have replaced with Christian Bale, I forget the actor from Superman Returns,
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, yeah, I
and
got
Kobe
you.
Smulders,
Yeah, yeah.
which would have been huge. They would have
Mm-hmm.
gotten a massive step up on the MCU because that came.
Yeah, probably.
Iron Man was in 2008.
Okay, because that's what really kicked off the Marvel universe.
That's what kicked off cinematic universes altogether. Marvel is just the biggest example of it. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, they may have just really screwed the pooch on that one.
well, another thought is that they might have been trying to do something because I know Christopher Nolan was very adamant on not doing a shared universe, so he didn't want any other superhero like of these DC characters in there. So they wanted to wait for his films to end before they started their own because they made Green Lantern, and I think that was their hope in 2011 that that would start the universe, and that was just a huge bomb.
That was Seth Rogen, right?
No, that was Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds wasn't
Seth Rogen was Green Hornet.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Um, so then they just started all over again in 2013 with Man of Steel, and it hasn't been working too great. But
Was Man of Steel also bad? I don't think I
I
saw
liked
it.
Man of Steel. I
Yeah,
think Man of Steel is good, and Wonder Woman is good.
yeah.
But the other ones have some issues. I mean, I find fun in some of them, but
I mean, obviously
step down
the
from.
Batman movies are all good.
Yeah, but they're not part of this
This
shared
different. Yeah,
universe.
it's that's older. When were those? Were also like 2011 or something.
Yeah,
2000.
2005 was Batman Begins. 2008, Dark Knight.
Oh, that's 2008, really? It
Yeah,
feels.
and then Dark Knight Rises, I'm not sure. Maybe
Yeah.
2011.
Okay.
So that was Wonder Woman, Joss Whedon's Wonder Woman. Uh, I hope I gave you enough information on it. I hope you enjoyed our opinion. I mean, final thoughts. Obviously, my thought is not as good.
No, it seemed like there was a lot of uh s stupid stuff almost. Um, like I said before, that I don't know why, but that all-seeing eye really stuck with me. I'm not a fan of it.
That little part stuck with you.
I really did not like that.
I
It
didn't
left
even
a
notice that
sour
stuck
taste
with
in
you
my
this whole
mouth.
time.
I don't know. It just seems so dumb. I don't like stuff like that. It just seems too convenient.
It is overplayed. Um,
But I mean, and there's also,
Here's what I will say about the all-seeing eye.
yeah,
In early 2000s or mid 2000s, I think that was like a real fear people felt, and I think it's a fear people
yeah.
still feel today. So maybe that's why it's so used, because we can be seen at all times.
That's why I have a little piece of tape covering my.
Hey man, the government, man, we could be seen at any time, man.
They're watching us, man.
You know these mics, man? They're connected to something, bro. The government.
They're listening.
All right, so thank you for listening. If you like this, send us a tweet. Tweet at us. Let us know what movie we should do next. What you're looking forward to. You could follow us at Greatest Movies Never Made at twitter.com. This is your host, Ryan, signing out.
Have a good night or day.
Or, yeah, afternoon. Take it easy.
Take it easy.